Hello guys, Cartoon Retro Boy 64 is here, and welcome to another video. And today we're actually going to be talking about a fan game that has been very popular in the Spongebob community since 2023. It's a really good game that is really positively received, and people seem to like this game a lot. And this game is known for also being a SNES style platformer. And also this game is also it's kind of like SNES. It's kind of like a it's like it's made. I think this game was also made by the YouTuber who I'll be mentioning in the who I'm gonna be referring to in this video as Loot. Here's the YouTube name. Here's his YouTube channel. Here's his YouTube channel right here. Here's Loot. Loot is hold up. I can't even see the camera too much. The camera's too far. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. So here is his YouTube channel. Loot is basically the creator of SpongeBob Super. It's called Super SpongeBob SquarePants 2. So yeah, that's what his channel is. And I'll be talking about his fan game, and talk about why I like this game a lot, because I think there's a lot of positives with the game. So I'm gonna start with the story of the game. So this game takes place after the events of Legend of the Lost Spatula. Yes, this is a sequel to Legend of the Lost Spatula with elements of Super Sponge in there and some other smart video games in general. And also it has references to the first four seasons and a hint of the newer seasons afterwards. So that's very neat. The story of this game is about the Flying Dutchman and Mr. Krabs arguing over a golden spatula. And basically what happens is that after trying to grab the spatula, it turns out Flying Dutchman has more golden spatulas, and if Mr. Krabs doesn't get out of his way, Flying Dutchman might send Mr. Krabs to Davy Jones' locker, and Mr. Krabs runs away. Patrick has to go tell Mr. SpongeBob about this. SpongeBob receives a map on his front doorstep, and that's where his quest begins. He first goes to Patrick and see what's happening, and then he goes to Krusty Krab, and that's where the main hub of the game is. The main hub area of this game is where you can upgrade your powers and stuff, and abilities, and also lives as well. And I think that using Krusty Krab as the hub area of the game is actually a really smart move on Loot's part, because really that's actually a really creative idea. Mr. Krabs, the hub area, it actually reminds me a lot of Drawn to Life Sponge SquarePants edition when it comes to like the shop. You know how in that game, in that DS game that Mr. Krabs had the Krusty Krab as a shop in that game. Well, I think that's probably where Loot took inspiration from. It's either coincidence or intentional, honestly, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I love how this area. I love the main hub area of the game, and I think it's a really good place where you can save your progress and upgrade your stuff and stuff. Also, the upgrade system reminds me a lot of the movie game on console, this one movie game, the first one. So that's really cool. So what's next? So that's where this is where the game gets. This is where the game starts to shine its gameplay. The gameplay of this game is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, similar to how Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, and other 2D platforms play like. Well, this one takes the more difficult route, honestly, which is probably a good move considering the difficulty is not as, frustrating as other SpongeBob games are. Like, at least it doesn't have a token requirement like like the first SpongeBob movie game. At least it doesn't make you backtrack to previous levels like True for Square. At least it doesn't have you have to go through costumes like Revenge of the Flying Dutchman does. At least you don't have spikes and inconsistent enemies like in Super Sponge. So I think this game is a perfect balance of of the difficulty in general. Safe but also hard. But I think that's a good move overall. What happens next, you wondering? So there's three levels in each area of this game, and I think let's start off with Bikini Bottom. I mean downtown Bikini Bottom. Sorry, I meant to say I thought it was Bikini Bottom, but it's downtown. So what happens in downtown, you may be asking? Well, there's two levels there's 2 levels at first. Downtown Bikini Bottom has only 3 levels in general, but this is where there's a lot of enemies in this game overall. Like there's clams, there's spikes, urchins I meant. There's also like later in the game it will vary on which enemies are which. Also, you can kill jellyfish in this game, just like in Battle for Bikini Bottom does. There's also some secrets in this game where you can get to secret stages that we never actually. I don't think any Spongebob game has secret stages actually, or secret areas that you can explore, or challenges. I think the only thing I can think of is probably the movie game, the first Spongebob movie game on console, which has challenges anyway. Speaking of the movie game, you can actually play as Patrick in this game too, as long as you beat the main story mode, of course. Also, at the end of each level in this game, of each world, you get a golden spatula at the end of each level and boss battle. Also, I should mention this as well. The music is also really fire in this game. I love the music. Then we have the first boss battle of this game, which the first boss battle of this game is Kevin the Cucumber, who is disguised as a queen jellyfish. So I will say that as the first boss, it was a good difficulty overall. I like how you can dodge the attacks and you can do a lot of things with this. And I think it's a really good boss. It reminds me a lot of the boss battle in the jellyfish boss battle in Legend of the Lost Spatula. You know, where you're in jellyfish fields and you're defeating the jellyfish boss battle. Or was it wild jellyfish? No, the wild jellyfish was in Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. But it reminds me a lot of the big jellyfish in Legend of the Lost Spatula overall. Also, I should also mention this as well, but the life system in this game is also very good. I will say that for sure. It definitely feels like a SNES game, for sure. Also, you also can't. Also, the gold spatulas are at the end of the level. They're like collectibles in this game, along with the. I don't know what the other collectibles in this game are, but I guess they are kind of like the shiny objects of the game, I guess. Also, you get power ups in this game, which the power up you mostly get in this game is the Goofy Goober Sundae from the movie game. Too bad there's no like references to the movie game. Too bad there's no like big references to all the games in SpongeBob. I would have liked to see some more worlds in this game, but I know that would be also a lot of work though. Also, the second world of this game is also thermal tunnels, which is actually from Super Sponge. Since I guess because since that area has the same music as Super Sponge, which is crazy to think about too. Anyway. The mini boss in this game of this world is basically Plankton. Yeah, there also will be mini bosses in both the final level of the game, or the final world of the game. The big boss of this area is the guy who is the karate villain in the episode Karate Island, which is the one who is trying to sell Spotted Real Estate or whatever it is, I believe. I think it's a really good difficulty boss as well. I think it's a nice boss. I really wish that I wish the boss could have had. I think the boss did a good job at showing the difficulty of the game overall. If I'm being honest with you. Also, the music in the boss battle is Sponge Monitor or whatever the music the music is. I believe it's the one with it's the one that plays in Squidville. It plays in the show more often a lot, like Grass Skirt Chase, or Sponge Monitor. I don't know how to say it right, but it's a really good boss overall. Um, Another thing about this game is that and then you have the third area of the game, which is actually a mixture of which is no, not a mixture. It's actually a sewer level, which I don't know how to say it right, but it is called Submerged Gutters, which is basically a new unique location that was not used in the show, and it's also original to the game in general. And I think this area is also very good at difficulty. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Um, I think that this area is also a good job at doing difficulty in general. I think it's a really good difficulty level. It's not very like easy, but it's still pretty good overall. I think it's a really good level in general. I'm just being honest. Oh, what is that? Okay, that's easy. Yeah, there's overall three levels in this game. At least in the first three worlds of the game, of course. The last level in this game, the last level in this area is against Sergeant Roger Fish or Rick. I don't know how to say it. I think that's what his name is. At first it plays the grass skirt chase, and then it plays Sponge Monitor as the boss battle. So it's kind of a nice reference to Mrs. Puff Your Fire from season 4. And I think this also boss does a good job at mastering your difficulty. And I love how I love how how it can throw the buns, the sweet buns or whatever it's called from the episode. It's really nice reference to the episode, and also he can use his megaphone to yell and stuff, which as sound waves and stuff. Which I think is a really good game. Which I think that's really good. That's really good when it comes to level design and gameplay. If I'm being honest. Okay, so that's World 3. Now let's move on to World 4, which is called Industrial Carnival. So if you guys don't know what this is a mixture between Industrial Park and the Carnival from the episode Hooky, and the Industrial Park is from Pre-Iron Nation Week. The music in this world is so fire, honestly. Oh yeah, if you're wondering what the mini boss of this area is, it's actually Robot Spongebob from Battle for King Bottom. Too bad he's not. Too bad that he won't. Too bad that he wasn't a full boss in this game. But, whatever. This is actually where you can the game introduces Patrick to as your buddy to platform and stuff, which I think is really good considering that's actually pretty good. That's actually he's like Yoshi in the main story of the game overall, which is very nice and very neat. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you. Yes, like I said, the Robot Sponge boss is really good, and I really like it a lot. It is definitely good difficulty overall. Sure, there is some enemies in this area that I kind of am confused about, like the starfish is kind of confusing considering that's literally what Super Sponge was trying to do. And so is the squids in this area too. That's kind of a reference to Super Sponge, to be honest. Feels like a reference to Super Sponge in general. But if you're wondering about what's the boss of this area? The boss of the area is Flats. Flats is the main boss of this area of this world basically, and I really think it's a really good boss overall. Flats does have some difficulty spikes and stuff like that, but I think he's a really good boss overall. If I'm being honest with you, he's a really good boss overall. If I'm being honest, he's a really good boss. He has a lot of good enemy. He's really good overall. I just really like him a lot. I mean, if you're wondering what's my favorite boss of this game, I probably would say Doodle Bob, honestly, considering I'm kind of a little biased on Doodle Bob a little bit, but I think he's definitely, I think second place would be also the final boss, and third would be Flats in general. Because I think the game gets more difficult once it goes on in World 4, honestly, if I'm being honest with you. But, yeah. World 4 is really good. And then World 5 is where I think this is my least favorite area of the game, if I'm being honest. It's called Frozen Tip Caverns, and I think this is my least favorite world of the game. It's not because of the level design of it. I just think the slippery controls is probably the biggest problem in this area overall. Because really, I know Loot made this area as difficult as possible, but it feels as difficult as the Crash Bandicoot 2 snow levels, which is kind of the best comparison I can give it to, honestly. Usually snow areas in games are really fun to play through, but if you have slippery controls, that's where I kind of feel like those type of levels kind of are ruined for me. But I think that people are hit or miss on this world in general, because I think it's because of the slippery controls overall. People like it because of its difficulty, and some people don't like it. And I'm one of those people who don't like this area, because I think it just kind of gets more difficult as it goes on. And also the slippery controls is kind of a big problem with this area too as well. I really wish there was no slippery controls slippery ice physics in this area, honestly. But I know Luge was trying though. I will say that for sure. He was trying to his best to balance the difficulty in this area, but I feel like it just ends up being a very not good area in general, honestly. But I think what saves this area from being like the worst level of this game, the worst area of the game. Well, it is definitely the worst area of the game, but it's only by I think it's only decent by I think it's only decent overall, which is not bad, but it could do a little bit better. But overall, I think what saves this level from being mediocre or bad is because of Doodlebob, which Doodlebob is the best part of this area in general because he's a really good boss battle and probably my favorite boss battle of all the areas in this game. I think also the mini bosses in the final area are also really good as well. I just don't think it's as good as the Doodlebob, the final boss, and Flats in general. The first three worlds of the game are decent bosses, but I think the final few worlds of the game where the bosses are difficult, that's where I think the game does a good job at difficulty overall. When it comes to like boss battle wise. But overall, I like this. The only thing I wish they could have done in this area as well. I know the like the fourth area the I know the fourth area had I know that like World 2 and also World 4 and World 6 has mini bosses, but I wish in the first area, the first downtown Bikini Bottom, you could have battled the Strangler as a mini boss in one of the levels overall, or yeah, that would have been actually a really good boss battle, honestly. World 3 could have had the sewer snake from Sewers in Bikini Bottom from season 9. World 5 could have had the Yeti Crab as a boss battle, which would have been a mini boss in the game. That would have been awesome and sick, honestly. But then again, that'd be also a lot of work overall. But you know, it would have been still cool. They would have been cool mini bosses in general, honestly, if I'm being honest with you. But overall, not bad selection of overall not bad selection. They would have been really cool and add a lot of more things to the game overall. But it's still the game's still peak as it is, honestly, if I'm being honest. But yeah, World 5 is probably my least favorite, but it's definitely still a decent level in at least in World in general. I just wish the ice physics were not such just really frustrating overall. The final area of the game is actually kind of hard to pronounce, but I'm gonna call it Spatula Land or whatever it's called. Here's what the area is called overall. I'm gonna it's the final area of the game, and it's also the final thing in the game overall. Here's what the area is called overall. If I'm being honest with you, so that's what the area is called overall. I think this area has a really good is probably the most difficult area of the whole game because it challenges your difficulty really hard, and I think it definitely does a good job at that. I especially love the mini bosses at the end of each level, and including the final boss is probably the sickest boss battle of all the fan games, London games I ever played. Honestly, more than even Round the Clock and Bikini Bottom, which is definitely frustrating, but I still like that game a lot too. But I think this one takes the cake when it comes to best SpongeBob fan games in general. So, yeah, the first level is really good. Second level is also really good, and the third level is really good too. I think the clean robot from the episode, what was it called again? Oh yeah, Krusty Cleaners. If you guys don't know that, the clean robot is from the episode, Krusty Cleaners from Scene 11, which I do recognize that robot from anyway. See, I told you. Sometimes I love how Loot references a lot of the newer seasons, and not just the first three seasons, and also the newer seasons too. Honestly, I just love that a lot about this game. Overall, I think the first boss of this world is really good. Dennis though is really it reminds me a lot of a Wario Land boss, or even the first Spun movie game on GBA. But I think it's more difficult than that, honestly. But I think this is a really good boss, though. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I really like the boss of this. I love the boss battle of this area. of level 2 because it's a really good boss overall, and I really like this area. I really like this world, honestly. Probably my favorite world of the game is probably this world in general, honestly. And yes, Dennis is also sure Dennis is a pain in the neck, but I think he's a really good boss too. But the final boss is really intense. Like I mean really, really intense. The first phase is basically similar to Legend of the Lost Spatula, but the second phase is really difficult and really exciting overall. I love how you can use your power, your all your powers you have at this point of the game, and you can just use your bubble soap and use your charge attack to your spatula's super spatula, zap on the Flying Dutchman. And I think this is definitely the best boss of the game. Not the best boss of the game. Second best boss of the game in general. And I really think this might be the best boss of any Spun fan game in general. The best final boss of any of them. Yeah, better than Round the Clock and Bikini Bottom in general, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it's really a boss overall. I think it's good. It's really good. It's fine. It's not fine. It's really good overall. I just really like this boss. Sure, I would have preferred if this final boss was much longer, but I think it's a really good boss in general. So that ends the gameplay of the game. The music of this game is also fire. I love the platforming of the game. The level design is really good. Everything about this game is peak in general. Despite some bosses kind of being more difficult than usual, I think the most of the game is really consistent on what difficulty it wants to be. Honestly, unlike Super Sponge and Legend of Lost Spatula, and other SpongeBob games in general. Overall, I think this is a great SpongeBob fan game, that really deserves a lot of praise, and I think this definitely could be the best SpongeBob fan game out there. And yes, I said it. It's better than both Bikini Bottom Tails and probably even Round the Clock of Bikini Bottom. So I mean, I would love to see Loot make make a sequel to this game because I would love to see like more playable characters like Patrick and Sandy. But I think as it is, this game is really great. But I would love to see a sequel to this game, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, because I can definitely list some ideas I want to see for a sequel of this game overall, because I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do for a sequel of this game, or at least a spiritual successor overall would be kind of nice. But overall, good game. I really like it. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, probably or 11 out of 10 because it's probably my favorite fan game out all time. Also, the end of the game ends with SpongeBob getting all the golden spatulas back to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krab, they go back to their good lives, and Mr. Krabs gives Patrick the day off, and also Squidward too, and Mr. Krabs himself. But the Flying Dutchman is trapped in a ghost jail forever, for eternity overall, and that ends the game. Overall, yes, like I said, it's a great game. It's a really good game. I love the gameplay. I love the level design. Bosses are really good. Enemies are really good. Everything about this game is peak fiction in general. Absolutely Loot's best fan game ever made. I would love to see a sequel to this, but I know that also would take a lot of work, to be fair. But I could list off ideas they could do for a sequel. At least to a sequel to this game, or a spiritual successor would be also kind of nice, but I don't know. It would be kind of cool, though. Maybe SNES style sequel would be kind of cool, but I don't know about that. Overall, great game. 11 out of 10, and I have nothing else to say. It's just a really good game in general, so I recommend you subscribe to his channel, Loot's channel, and I do want to see more SpongeBob. I want to see more some fan games be as peak as this one. Same way, sir, we have Around the Clock Bikini Bottom Tails, but this one takes the cake for the best SpongeBob fan game ever made. So thank you guys for watching. I hope people also review this game more often because this is a really good fan game. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And Kurt Boys out.